Before we begin tonight's story, take a slow breath. Allow yourself to settle in. Wherever you are listening from tonight, whether it is late evening or the quiet hours before morning, you are welcome here. Let me know in the comments where you are listening from and what time it is where you are. And if you enjoy calm historical journeys like this one, you can subscribe and return again for another quiet story from the past. Now, allow your shoulders to relax. Let the noise of the day drift a little farther away. There is nowhere to go, nothing to finish, only this moment, only this quiet night. Tonight, you find yourself walking slowly along a narrow dirt road. The day has already faded. The final traces of sunlight have disappeared behind the distant hills, leaving only a soft blue darkness stretching across the horizon. The air feels cooler now, not cold, just enough to notice. A gentle evening chill settles into the stillness around you. Your footsteps move slowly over the uneven ground. The earth beneath your boots feels dry and firm. Dust shifts softly with each step. There is no rush, no destination that must be reached quickly. Only the slow rhythm of walking. Only the quiet sound of the night beginning. Somewhere far away, you hear the faint call of an owl. A few insects hum softly in the grass. The world feels quieter than usual, as though everything has begun to settle. Ahead, you notice a faint glow. At first, it is only a small flicker against the darkness. Easy to miss, but slowly, as you continue walking, the light becomes clearer. A small collection of fires, lanterns, canvas tents, a camp. You continue toward it. The sounds grow slightly clearer now. Soft conversation, the crackling of burning wood. A distant horse shifting somewhere beyond the tents. The camp does not feel loud. It feels tired. The long day has already passed. The work is finished. And now, the night has begun to take over. As you reach the edge of the camp, you notice rows of canvas tents standing quietly beneath the moonlight. They are simple. Uniform, practical, placed close together in neat lines. Many Civil War camps were arranged with order. Rows of tents created familiarity, a small sense of structure, even during uncertain times. Small fires burn low between groups of men. The flames are no longer large. Most have settled into glowing embers. Just enough warmth remains, just enough light. You notice a few soldiers sitting quietly nearby. No one appears hurried. No one speaks loudly. The conversations are soft, slow, almost whispered. One man stares into the fire. Another folds a blanket carefully across his lap. A third removes his boots and rubs tired hands across his face. The movements are simple, ordinary. The kinds of motions repeated every evening. The routines of tired people preparing for rest. Many soldiers described evenings like this. Not dramatic, not filled with constant noise, but surprisingly quiet. After long marches, cooking, drills, and hours spent outdoors, the night often felt peaceful. Some later wrote that evenings became their favorite time, because for a short while, the world slowed down. The darkness created distance from the demands of the day. You move carefully through the camp. No one questions your presence. No one seems to notice. It feels as though you are simply part of the evening, a quiet observer. You pass a lantern hanging near one of the tents. Its flame moves softly behind the glass. The light shifts gently with the breeze. Canvas walls glow faintly in the darkness. Inside some tents, shapes can already be seen lying down. Blankets, rolled coats, simple bedding spread across the ground. A few distant coughs break the silence. Then quiet returns again near the center of the camp. One fire still burns steadily. You walk toward it. The warmth reaches you slowly, softly. The smell of smoke drifts into the night air. Wood crackles quietly. Sparks rise upward, disappearing into darkness. You lower yourself onto the ground nearby. The earth feels firm beneath you, still warm from the day. You sit comfortably, listening, watching, allowing the camp to exist around you. A horse exhales softly somewhere in the distance. A blanket shifts. Boots scrape quietly against dirt. Then stillness again. One soldier nearby holds a small piece of paper. Perhaps a letter. Perhaps notes written earlier that day. He reads slowly by lantern light. His expression remains calm, tired, quiet. Historical letters from soldiers often described evenings like this. Simple moments. Moments that felt almost normal, even in uncertain times. One soldier wrote that nighttime brought relief. The work ended. The movement stopped. And for a while, there was only firelight, conversation, and the comfort of sitting still. You remain there quietly. The fire moves gently. The night deepens. The moon rises a little higher. The sky becomes darker. Stars appear overhead. More and more of the camp begins to fall silent. Voices become fewer. Movements become slower. The evening drifts toward sleep. You take another slow breath. The air smells of earth, smoke, canvas, and cool night wind. Nothing feels urgent. Nothing feels loud. Only the soft rhythm of a quiet camp, resting beneath the night sky. And as you sit beside the fire, listening to its steady crackle, the world around you begins to slow even more, until there is only warmth, only darkness, only stillness, and the quiet feeling of being here. The fire continues to burn quietly. Its light shifts gently across the ground. The camp has grown calmer now. Most of the movement from earlier has slowed. The evening settles into a familiar rhythm. Around you, small routines continue. One soldier carefully folds a blanket. Another brushes dirt from his coat. Nearby, someone quietly cleans a metal cup. Simple tasks, unhurried, repeated so many times that they no longer require much thought. Many evenings in Civil War camps followed patterns like this. After the work of the day, there was comfort in routine. The same small actions, the same quiet preparation before sleep. Some men sat near the fire for warmth. Others preferred the shelter of their tents. Many simply rested in silence. not speaking, not moving very much, only sitting quietly after a long day. You notice the soft sound of fabric shifting as someone adjusts a blanket. A boot taps gently against the dirt. A lantern flickers inside a nearby tent. The camp feels less like a military place now, and more like a temporary village resting beneath the night. A faint smell of coffee still lingers in the cool air. Coffee was common in camp life. Many soldiers drank it whenever they could, even late into the evening. Warmth mattered, routine mattered, small comforts mattered. You watch as a man slowly stirs the last glowing embers with a stick. The fire brightens for a moment, then settles again. A few quiet voices drift through the darkness. Soft conversation. Nothing urgent. Nothing loud, just tired people speaking slowly. One soldier leans back against a pack. His eyes remain fixed on the fire. He does not seem to be thinking about anything in particular. Only resting, only existing in the quiet of the evening. Many letters written during the war describe these peaceful moments. Not battles, not marching, but the stillness that arrived afterward, the hours between work and sleep, the simple comfort of sitting near warmth, the feeling that night offered a pause from everything else. The wind moves gently through the camp. Canvas tents shift softly. The air grows cooler. The stars above become brighter, and slowly, almost without noticing, the camp grows quieter still. The evening routine begins to fade. One by one, men disappear into their tents. Lanterns dim, voices become fewer, and the night deepens around you. The night continues to settle gently over the camp. The fires burn lower now. Their light no longer reaches very far. Only small circles of warmth remain, surrounded by darkness. The sounds of the evening have softened. Most voices are quiet now. Some have disappeared entirely. The camp feels slower, heavier with tiredness, more peaceful than before. You remain seated near the fire. The warmth touches your hands. The cool night air rests softly against your face. Across the camp, a few lanterns still glow, small pockets of light scattered between tents. In one of those quiet spaces, a soldier sits alone. He leans forward slightly. A folded piece of paper rests in his hands. Beside him, a lantern burns with a small yellow flame. The light flickers across his face. He reads slowly, carefully, as though he has already read the same words many times before. Letters were important in camp life. For many soldiers, they became one of the few connections to home. A letter could travel for days, sometimes weeks, and when it finally arrived, it carried pieces of another world. News from family, weather from distant towns, simple stories from ordinary life. Many letters contained small details, nothing dramatic. A mention of rain, a harvest, a dog waiting near a porch, the changing of seasons. The kinds of things that felt familiar, comforting, grounding. At night, many soldiers chose to write. The day was finished. The work was done, and for a short while, There was enough quiet to think. You watch as the man unfolds another sheet of paper. He pauses, holding the pencil still, thinking about what to write. Perhaps he begins with a greeting, a simple sentence. Perhaps he writes to parents, to a wife, to children. Many letters began gently, not with worry, but with reassurance. Writers often tried to sound calm, even when conditions were difficult. One soldier once wrote that evenings gave him time to remember home more clearly. He described how darkness made memories feel closer. The firelight, the silence, the stillness after a long day. These things created space for thought. Another letter described how camps felt different at night. During daylight, there was movement, noise, orders, tasks, but after sunset, the camp became quieter, almost gentle. The writer said that evenings allowed everyone to become themselves again. Not soldiers, just tired people sitting beneath the stars. You imagine the sound of pencil moving across paper, slow handwriting, pauses between sentences, the careful folding of a letter once it is complete. Some men carried small journals. Others wrote directly onto loose paper. A lantern nearby shifts softly with the wind. The flame bends slightly, then straightens again. The soldier near the fire lowers his paper. For a moment, he simply looks into the darkness, perhaps thinking, perhaps remembering. The camp remains quiet around him. A horse moves gently in the distance. The soft clink of metal sounds briefly somewhere nearby. Then silence returns. Many letters from this time described exhaustion, not always hardship, but tiredness. Long days spent outdoors, walking, waiting, living within routine. And yet, even in those descriptions, there were moments of peace. Small comforts, warm coffee, a shared conversation, a clear night sky, the sound of crickets in the grass, the feeling of sitting quietly before sleep. You notice another lantern farther away. Its light glows faintly inside a tent. Someone inside may still be awake, perhaps writing, perhaps reading old letters once again. Words carried carefully across distance, words meant to comfort, words meant to remind someone that home still existed somewhere beyond the darkness. You remain seated beside the fire. The warmth feels softer now, the night feels deeper. Around you, the camp drifts farther into silence. The lanterns grow dimmer. The conversations fade. Even the wind seems quieter. The soldier folds his letter slowly. He places it carefully inside his coat, then looks once more toward the fire. Its glow reflects softly in his eyes. Nothing needs to be said. The night understands stillness. And here, in the quiet space between firelight and darkness, time seems to move more slowly. The camp rests. The letters are folded away, and the evening continues its gentle drift toward sleep. The camp has grown quieter now. Most of the lanterns have dimmed. The fires burn low. Only a few glowing embers remain, scattered like small red stars across the ground. The night feels deeper, more still. The kind of stillness that arrives slowly, without anyone noticing the exact moment it begins. You remain seated near the fading fire. The warmth has softened. The air feels cooler against your skin. Above you, the sky stretches wide and dark. Clouds drift slowly across the moon. Stars appear between them. The world seems larger at night, quieter too, without conversation, without movement. Even small sounds begin to stand out. You notice the crackling of the fire first, soft, unpredictable. A tiny sound every few seconds. Wood settling, embers shifting. A faint pop as a small piece of ash breaks apart. It is not loud, only steady. A sound that blends naturally into silence. Nearby, canvas tents move gently in the breeze. The fabric shifts softly, a quiet rustling. Almost like distant waves, the wind comes and goes, sometimes strong enough to move the edges of a tent. Sometimes so light it barely touches anything at all. You hear someone turn in their sleep. A blanket slides quietly across the ground. Then stillness returns. Many soldiers slept close together in camp. Rows of tents created small shared spaces. At night, sounds traveled differently. Quiet footsteps seemed louder. A cough carried farther. Even breathing could sometimes be heard in the still air. One historical account described nighttime in camp as strangely peaceful. The writer said that after dark, the world seemed to lose its sharp edges. Noise disappeared, time slowed, and ordinary sounds became more noticeable. The rustle of clothing, the creak of leather, the movement of horses nearby. In the distance, you hear one horse shift its weight. A soft snort follows, then the quiet sound of hooves pressing gently into dirt. The animal settles again, farther away. A night insect sings steadily from the grass. Its rhythm repeats, simple, calm, unchanging. The sound blends into the darkness. The camp itself feels half asleep now. No one moves quickly. No one speaks loudly. The night has become something shared. A pause, a resting place between one day and the next. You listen carefully. The silence is not empty. It is filled with small things, tiny sounds, soft textures, gentle movement. A distant breeze, the quiet shifting of canvas, the low whisper of fire somewhere nearby. A piece of wood collapses gently into glowing embers. The fire brightens for a brief moment, then settles once again. Many camps during the Civil War became deeply quiet after lights out. Only those on watch remained awake. The rest slept beneath blankets, coats, or simple bedrolls. Night carried a different feeling. Not work, not marching, only rest. You notice how slowly everything moves now. Even your breathing feels calmer. The darkness encourages stillness. The quiet asks nothing from you. You simply remain where you are. Listening, the wind brushes through the camp again, gentle, cool, passing softly between tents, then fading away. A lantern somewhere in the distance flickers one final time. Its glow grows smaller, then disappears. More of the camp slips into darkness. More of the night takes over. The stars remain above, silent, unmoving. Watching over the quiet rows of tents, you lower your gaze back toward the fire. Its light is softer now, lower, warmer. The sounds around you continue, slow, steady, gentle, and the longer you listen, the more the camp begins to feel distant, dreamlike, as though the night itself is slowly carrying everything into rest. The fire has become smaller now. Only a few glowing pieces of wood remain. The warmth still reaches you, but more gently than before. Round the camp, nearly everyone has settled in for the night. The quiet feels deeper, more complete. The tents stand still beneath the dark sky. The wind moves softly between them, occasionally lifting a corner of canvas, then letting it fall back into place. You notice how simple everything is. No beds, no soft mattresses, only blankets spread across the earth, rolled coats, folded cloth, small personal belongings placed nearby. Many soldiers slept directly on the ground, sometimes on straw, sometimes on thin bedrolls, and sometimes with nothing more than a blanket between themselves and the dirt beneath them. Comfort came not from softness, but from exhaustion. After long days outdoors, rest arrived quickly. Even hard ground could feel welcoming when the body was tired. You imagine lying down beneath the canvas roof of a tent, the earth beneath you cool and steady, a folded jacket placed beneath your head, boots resting nearby, the scent of canvas, smoke, and earth lingering in the air. Outside, the faint sounds of the camp continue, quiet breathing, a distant horse shifting once more, the low whisper of wind. Nothing sudden, nothing sharp, only soft reminders that others are nearby. Historical accounts often described sleep as precious, the chance to close tired eyes, to stretch aching legs, to escape thought for a while. Some men slept deeply. Others woke occasionally during the night, but nearly everyone understood the value of quiet rest. You imagine the weight of a blanket pulled close, the warmth held beneath it, the comfort of stillness, the slow release of tension, the feeling of no longer needing to move. The camp breathes softly around you. The night remains calm, and as the darkness deepens, the world feels smaller, simpler. Nothing exists beyond this quiet place. Only the tents, the fading fire, the cool air, and the peaceful rhythm of sleep arriving one person at a time. The final embers glow quietly, small points of orange beneath a blanket of darkness. The camp is nearly asleep now. Very few sounds remain. The voices have disappeared. The lanterns have gone dark. Only the night remains. You sit beside the fire a little longer, watching the embers shift. Their light rises and fades slowly, each movement softer than the last. The air feels cooler now, the breeze gentler. Above, the stars continue to shine, clear, silent, unchanging. The tents rest quietly beneath them, rows of sleeping shapes hidden behind canvas walls. The camp no longer feels like a place of work, or movement, or responsibility. It feels like a world paused, a place suspended between waking and sleep. One soldier turns quietly beneath a blanket, then grows still again. A horse exhales softly somewhere in the darkness. The sound drifts through the night, then disappears. Nothing else asks for attention. There is no urgency here, only rest, only stillness. Many soldiers describe these final hours of the night as peaceful. The world felt distant, the noise of the day forgotten. Even thoughts became slower. The darkness encouraged quiet reflection, and eventually, sleep. You feel the calmness of the camp around you, the earth beneath you, the cool air, the fading warmth of the fire. Everything has slowed. Everything has softened. The embers grow dimmer, one by one, until only a faint glow remains. You take one final look across the sleeping camp, the tents, the shadows, the peaceful stillness. Then you allow yourself to rest. There is nowhere else to be, nothing else to do. The night has become quiet enough, safe enough, still enough to let go, to drift, to sleep. And as the final embers slowly fade into darkness, the camp remains silent beneath the stars, waiting peacefully for morning. And now, the night has grown quiet. The fire has faded. The camp rests peacefully beneath the stars. Nothing more is needed. Nothing more must happen. You have walked through the quiet paths of this camp. You have sat beside the fire. You have listened to the soft sounds of the night. And now, you can simply rest. Allow the darkness to feel gentle. Allow your breathing to slow. Let your thoughts drift softly, like smoke disappearing into the night sky. Thank you for spending this quiet evening here. And if you found comfort in tonight's journey, you are always welcome to return for another peaceful story from the past. For now, there is nothing left to do. Only rest, only stillness, only sleep. Good night, and may the quiet of this camp stay with you long after the fire has gone dark.